now we have that awkward phase of, is it working? I do see us live. Welcome everybody to the Making Awesome podcast. We have probably one of the most interesting guests we've ever had. We have Choon Ng. He is the inventor of the Rainbow Loom, and just, you are a maker of massive proportions. I can tell a bit about your story, but I think it comes best from you. Choon, do you mind telling the folks watching and listening out there who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Jun Ung. I'm the creator of Rainbow Loom, a craft products to make rubber band bracelets, like this guy here, but I added some charms anyway. Um, I want to thank people first to join this podcast. It's exciting for me. It's an honor. I want to thank people that I work. If you guys are listening out there, I want to thank people that I meet, I work with, and carry throughout the journey on Rainbow Loom. It's been so Rainbow Loom has been a little over 10 years, but Rainbow Loom products is 10 years. So it's been exciting, and thank you so much to everyone, workers, staff, companies that we work with, buyers, future, past and future. Thank you so much.
And guys, this is something that's big. Sanjay talked about this when we interviewed Sanjay Mortimer. Of course, those videos are available on the channel, but Choon barely talked about the success of the product itself and talked more about the success of his team, and talked all about, right, how it's not just him. There's a whole machine of people running to make this system of Rainbow Loom, and he's being very humble. Rainbow Loom won Toy of the Year in 2014 and has been seen on everybody from royalty to the Pope. And I love that you have some of the product. I feel like you must always have some sort of Rainbow Loom product on you at all times. Is this true?
Yes. It's we started this product. Well, it was just a hobby, like a weekend project with my daughters, and turned into something that I seen that on many kids' reads, and also they make bracelet given to popular people like Pope Francis, and and many more famous people. My mind I just couldn't believe that, and it's like looking in from somewhere, like not myself. It's like it, to me it's mind-boggling. So it's crazy, but it's cool. Yeah.
It really is. And, can you talk a little bit about the story of Rainbow Loom, right? It is, a lot of inventors will look at, some of these massively successful products out there and say, I want to be like Rainbow Loom. But I'm sure there's more to it than you made it and it had immediate, amazing, perfect success from the beginning. So can you talk about that prototyping process? How did you get to this end product? Like, what was this process like?
It's a long process. Yeah. So there are many different phases, I would say. So the initial phase was I didn't plan out this at all. Rainbow Loom came in surprise. It started. This is back in 2010. I remember my daughters. They were then 12 and 9. So the older daughter taught the younger daughter how to make bracelet with their fingers, because the older daughters saw their friend did it and she learned how to do it and came back, and so they were playing. And I've been always a nosy dad, because I love them to death. I'm sure dad around, everybody do the same thing. I love them to death, and I didn't want to miss anytime, so I usually very nosy, sit down with them and play with them, They don't play cars, robots, but they play others, But in a way that when I join them, I would sometimes put on my engineering hat. I used to be an engineer in the automotive industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I would try to make it more fun to them. And lots of time, I have to admit it, I fail lots of time, But Rainbow Loom was one of this like few times that I feel proud about it. So what happened was I showed them with uh, a loom, prototype loom. So what I did was I used a wooden board, and then I put push pins on
Yep.
it and make multiple rows of push pins. And
Mm-hmm.
that way I could loop rubber band, crisscrossing them and make thicker bracelets. So this is back in the day when they did it by hand. They only link rubber band in a single chain. So they have not seen anything thicker than that. That way they could,
Right.
where I could like crisscross and make into diamond shape and triangle and rhombus and all that. So they have not seen it before. They were like, "Wait, Dad, how do you do it?" So I
You
pull
blew their
out.
minds.
Yeah. They were like, "Hey, Doctor, how do you do it?" So I pull out that. I say, "Hey, look at this. Check it out. This is how I do it." So they were so impressed about that, and then obviously they made a bunch of bracelets. They took it to school, show it to their friends,
Oh yeah.
and then they came back with the list of orders from their friends. Their friends, this so and so, want like 2 bracelets and this. I was like, wait a second, we can't make that many bracelets, but we can try to make as many as we could. So we did, and then they show it to friends, and then some of the neighbors came to our house and did it together, and it was a hit. It was a hit, really a hit. So me didn't know how how things will pan out at all. I was just got excited about it. And then I told my wife about it. I said, "Hey, honey, what if we turn this into a product that we can sell? Maybe we can sell rubber bands, we can sell, bracelets, we
Right.
can sell this." And then she looked at me, she's like, "No." She just flat out saying no. So, but I mean, she is a person that's more. She always been more grounded. She's more realistic. I'm the one who always came up with crazy ideas that
The same
I
way.
have to admit here, but most of the time didn't work. So yeah. So that's how we get the interest started, and I kept pursuing it. I because I get fueled by interest from my daughters and their friends. They show me that, hey, this is not too difficult to make. This is this is very rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
They show me that, hey, there's a market here. Pay attention to it. So for months and months, I kept at night. I was making bracelet. I was improving the design. So I went to many iterations. Yeah. Yep. So
That is very important in that inventing process, not just the market research. So I think you did strike gold with the market research, because you made a product for your daughters. Your daughters then brought it to school, and the school was effectively that market research that then turned them into little entrepreneurs, being able to make and give them to their friends. But the
yeah.
iterative design process is also incredibly important. We find that inventors will a lot of times come up with an idea, be rock steady, unable to change, very much narrow focus on, this is my $1 billion idea. How many iterations do you think you went through of Rainbow Loom before you finally landed on the one you said, all right, it's time to spend the money, let's get it injection molded?
Yeah. This is a very good question and very important question. When do you stop?
Yeah.
Right. Well, by rule, I think any idea, any invention, you have to improve it because there are many factors that are important. Um, they can be, the budget standpoint. You want to design for certain demographic of customers,
Right.
and because there's always budget involved, how much you can sell to customers. You need to understand that demographic,
Yep.
right? And then you need to design in a way that you can manufacture, because a lot of design can be good, but they cannot be made, or they can cost too much to make, right?
It's
So you
true.
got
It's
to
true.
you got to do the optimization on manufacturability, and then try to budget everything right, so you can sell it to certain demographic, the budget is right, and then the look of it, the feel of it, the use of it, make sure that it's effective, the best that you can, as far as improve the experience, the user's experience,
Mm-hmm.
because what you want to do a lot of products that requires an effort to make it happen, to make, like mine would be the craft products.
Yeah.
You want to minimize the effort, but maximize the reward. The reward is being, after you make the bracelet, and then the result is awesome. So this is true an experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our products it has very high reward factor, because after you make it, you feel so much attached to it, because you put effort and time, right? It's not impossible to make. Obviously, kid already proved prove that it can
It's
be
true.
done. Yeah. So I'm surprised that some of some adults couldn't do it, but their 6-year-old, 7-year-old could do it. So it's yeah. So a lot of these factors need to be combined, and then you want to kind of step into two foot at a time. Where you need to step on the creativity to make things like awesome, great, fun. But at the same time, you want to step on the reality part, where, those people will, who's going to pay for this? Who's going to buy this? Is this over too expensive? And will this be an Amazon product, or will this be a store product? How much is the shipping cost? How big is it? So on and so forth, right? So you got to touch base on all that.
Yep.
But it doesn't need to be happen at once. The good thing is being an inventor. If you want to take this product to the market yourself, you have all the time to yourself, because you are the only one who came up with this idea, right? So you have all the time, but you got to just do it. You got to just do it. Yeah.
It's true. And this whole time scenario that you went through, how long from first prototype to final product, like how long did that take? So when you first developed Rainbow Loom for the girls, how long did it take you to get to the one that ended up in market, right? The one that sold millions of copies worldwide.
Oh, okay. I spent, I think, 4 to 6 months time just to
Okay.
do development. But this is back in 2010. 3D printer isn't that popular,
No, it's not.
and I remember that I used to buy those dry clay that my daughter used to play. So what it is when it's soft and moist, you can craft it, you can shape it. But when it dry, obviously you cannot, it form the shape. So I used to use those to do the iteration and make physical parts. So the problem is they always crack and break. So I have to be extra careful. Yeah. So your question is about how how long, right? How long does it take? To me, it takes about 4 to 6 months just on the design side.
Right.
And then I continue to work with the supplier that makes the tooling for the next 4 months or so. So it's like a year time before we get the the first prototype.
That's not that bad. I mean, honestly, that's pretty quick. I I think that whole testing of the market immediately was an amazing aspect of your product, right? We find that a lot of inventors tend to try to solve problems that they can't
Mhm.
validate that everybody in the world has. Your
Yeah,
product, you literally, your girls were your target market, and then
right,
the
right.
school validated it. And did you end up, what were some of like the big changes that you went through during that iterative design process?
Uh, you said what are the
Yeah,
changes?
what were some of the changes that you went through during the design
Oh yeah,
process?
yeah, yeah. So I remember that this product was we started to make the product into larger set.
Okay.
It has got 6 row of pins, and then when we got everything made, meaning the injection part, all that. When I assemble it, I show it to my daughters and have them to play with it. Immediately, I found that it's too complicated because having 6 pin, they kind of get lost, like where to start
Mm-hmm.
using, where to do this. And then I realized that it's too complicated. I have to reduce that to 3 pins, 3 row of pin. Um, and that's the time that I get crushed because I put all the money into the pot, then for tooling. And then if I change it, it's going to cost. I have to throw out everything.
Wow.
But last minute at that time, I decided that hey, I can make a base that snap from the bottom to hold all 3 pins together. So those are smaller parts with lower cost in tooling.
Mm-hmm.
So those are like on the fly that I decided that hey, I think I can do this, still make this happen, and it worked. It's turned out to be the product that we're still selling today, with the small piece of base that snap from the bottom up. So I think sometimes you have to, when you design something, you invent something, it's a smooth process.
Right.
You always encounter something new, and then it seems like a brick wall. It's a showstopper, but at that time it's bad. I know it's bad.
Yeah, it feels like the world is
Cool
crumbling
down.
around you.
I know. Yeah, because we don't have any budget. We can't afford to throw that away.
Mm-hmm.
Cool down and think about how to solve that. So think about the way that as a gain, not the loss. If you can make use of any other part at all, it's a gain to you. So think in a positive way because negativity make us sad and shut down. No, no. Turn it around, make it positive. So that's how you gain the energy and move forward again.
How did you work through that when you tried to make one with six, realized six doesn't work, we got to go to four? How did you make that positive, or how did that thought process work out?
I guess the best friends for you would be time, you know, because
Yep.
when you realize that it's not going to work, suddenly you got upset. I got upset. I get like, oh, that's it. We just throw away all this money, you know. Um, but no, we still can use it. We still can use some of the part, So the
It's
part
words of
is
wisdom.
your emotion will take over for some time,
Mm-hmm.
but then the reality set in. But then you starting to cool down. You were thinking that hey, with all this tooling, I still can use this if I do, that, right? So you kind of when you cool down, you will be able to analyze, how to recover from that and think that as a gain, not a loss. If you can do any of that, would be a gain. So so that got me excited again. you know.
Yeah.
So you got to have that positive energy going on. So
I
yeah.
I feel like the invention process is not just one spark. It is a collection of sparks that grow and grow and grow. And maybe one of them does die out, but you've got so many more to keep you moving. Would you agree with this? That it is not just
Absolutely,
awesome.
absolutely. It's a like you say, collective
Yeah.
ideas that you keep refining it. Yes, you're going to come up with an idea, with a vision, with a concept that does certain things well, right? But inside that concept, it has a lot of this detailed stuff that you can later put it as a claim in your patent. So you will come up with those to make things unique, which is unique to your design, right?
Right. Right.
So yeah. So you have to go through that process, to make your design unique, and better than anyone else out there.
It's true. Now, do you believe that your experience as an automotive engineer working in the automotive industry assisted you in designing up the Rainbow Loom? Hilariously, this is not a Rainbow Loom, but it is reasonably close. It's for another client that we're doing work for. It is a piece of plastic with pins on it, right? 'Cause ultimately, that is similar to what the Rainbow Loom is. This is for pill making. Don't worry, it's not a competitor product. It's for pill making. Um, but do you believe that your experience in industrial design assisted in being able to build something like this and know how to do it properly?
Yes, and yes, and there'll be, of course, more. I think the experience being an engineer, I work in automotive industry, I work with designers, but I wasn't a designer. I work with designer. I cannot understand, how design processes work,
Mm-hmm.
how the I'm a performance engineer. I was a crash safety engineer, but I work with many people. I know that what kind of performance you need to have, what kind of function of each component need to do. So I check that which with this experience does help me to develop products, and I also work with suppliers directly, so to know how to negotiate with them. So all this experience does help. I
Right.
I have to admit, yes, it helped a lot.
Oh yeah.
Even beyond building, coming up with the idea, building a company, all this experience works. But I think more, very very important element is the imagination and creativity. You have to have that. You have to
Of
have
course. Of course.
imagination, and I didn't know that I have that, and I think my imagination is quite strong as well. That helps me to think of something which I can imagine, like, let's say, how components should work together, and then by adding, let's say, a bolt in there, and how that changed the function of that, and then so on and so forth. So I think I can think in that manner,
Mm-hmm.
in many layers, and not needing to build prototype yet, but I can, imagine that. I think all that stuff came from my childhood.
Okay.
Growing up in Malaysia, I'm a Malaysian Chinese
Yep.
and proud to be. Um, so I think that play values, that a lot of people, a lot of time you build it during the childhood. So that's a very important element, I think.
I would absolutely agree. Being able to look at everything from the top down, understanding that there's always another way. There's no such thing as a dead end in inventing.
No,
There's always a way to make it work. One thing that we tell inventors is be careful of success. Success can actually lead directly to failure. So when Rainbow Loom just exploded, right? It came onto the market when, about 2012 or so, right?
yes,
And it ended up winning Toy of the Year in 2014, which is a ridiculous thing to win. I mean, there's millions of other products you are competing against, which is got to be a massive honor in and of itself. But how did that explosive growth, how did you guys handle that explosive growth? Because a lot has to change.
Yeah. So you know what, we came to my wife and I, we met in high school. You know, we came to United States. We were not given uh, things given to us. No, we have to earn it. You know, we came to this country with literally just, well, my parents supported me, and then we have to work part-time, you know, to support. So our past, it wasn't a easy one,
Right.
to, you know. So we started with nothing literally. So we do value opportunities and value you know, things that it isn't given to us that easy, you know. So it's not handed to us. We have to work hard for it. So I think that part of the aspect does it's one of the important things is remind us to be grounded. You know,
Yes, very true.
and I think that's important to anyone. You know, even if you compare, looking at people who are billionaire, you know, a lot more richer, a lot more I should say wealthier. A lot of them still work. You know, so they don't have to, right? They can just retire and then
It's true.
live whatever lifestyle they like, but they still do what they do. You know, so. I think that tells us that, you know, what matters is it's not money. It's not that, you know, when you have money you can do anything you want. No, it's more like you want to do something that has meaningful to you, has meaning to you. You know, so that's important. So we I mean we do travel more, you know, when we obviously we spend a little bit more here and there, you
Right,
know,
of course.
but I would say that it doesn't change our lifestyle a whole lot.
Right.
It's you know, we are still the same people. We still shop at the same store. We shop at Walmart. You know, we still buy, you know, stuff that. But what's changed is I think the worry of money is less. You know.
That is something that I think every inventor, entrepreneur, quite frankly, every person at this point is pushing toward, where they can feel comfortable. They've got
Mhm.
enough to survive. They're
Yes.
covering their basic needs. And if there's some left over to go on a vacation, buy some nice printers, right? You know, enjoy that. Exactly. He's got the Prusa. You know what's up. Being able to go further than you ever thought. That is where we all want to end up. When did that like finally set in, or do you think it has set in yet, where I made it? I made a product that quite literally everybody in the world, if not has experienced it, has likely heard of it. When did that finally set in?
I think it finally set in after 3 years later, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So from 2012 to 2014, we were constantly busy. We were constantly, because the growth is it was crazy.
Yeah.
We went from my wife and I packing from home, and then we get help from neighbors' kid to come and help us to do packing. We bought ice cream for them, you know, and pizza. So that's all they
That's what
take.
it's all about, man. Ice.
Yeah, that's all it is talk about. Yeah. And my friend came over, you got beer, you know,
Yep.
beer and pizza. And then we kept on doing that, but then our sales grow 50% every month. I remember that.
Wow.
No matter how hard we pack, you know, it just keep adding and adding and adding. there was a good days. Obviously, we have the bad days before
Of
things
course.
didn't work, But after that, things works and it just grew 50%. And then at some point we realized that we cannot do it from home anymore. Our garage will fill with products that we have to ship out, and then we got to bring in more products
Yep.
in the morning, and then we'll do packing during the daytime and in the evening. All that needs to go out, So it occupied the whole garage, 2-car garage, and it still keep growing, and we were piling it up. And then I was like, no, we can't do this anymore. So that's when we started to rent a warehouse space, so that we get more space. And then we decided that there was a time that by the end of 2012, I decided that I have to take a break from my full-time job. And I told my boss that, hey, I'm going to come back in 6 months. So give me that time. I'm going to come back. And obviously I couldn't, because the business keep growing. We hire over 20 staff.
Wow.
In a very short time. It's like 6 months or so. We kept hiring. It's like, asking my neighbors, somebody's kid can come and work, and then their friends, and so on and so forth. So it grew really fast. And then so that was everything got chaotic, because you got all the people coming to work, and then they're like show up, and then they look at you. It's like, what do I do? Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. Building a team is incredibly complicated. People don't understand how difficult it is to trust somebody with your baby, right? You're handing the future of your company into the hands of others. And while you did still oversee the process, others were doing the work now. What was that shift like? Because the move from my garage is full of product, I'm shipping as fast as I physically can, and I'm getting product in as fast as I physically can. That shift when you moved into that rental space, was there a sigh of relief, or was it like another shot of adrenaline ready to work harder?
Yeah, both. Because once you get to a situation where you think that, hey, finally you can do this, but at the same time you see the growth, it's coming up. Once we move into the warehouse, and then we are seeing that we have shipments keep increasing. At some point, not too long from there, we move in. We have 1 containers of product coming in a day.
Wow.
And then the same day we have product going out, a container of product going out, same day. So
that's a lot of product.
Yeah, that was a lot of product. So it's like in and out. And we got to the point that, we, at some point that we couldn't even do it ship it out from a warehouse. We got ship it out from overseas in China, and we were shipping 20 containers a week.
For those that don't know, this is the process of drop shipping. What you are talking about goes from landing the raw product, combining it, and then sending it out, to having it all done at the manufacturer, and the done, ready to sell product is then shipped.
Yeah, directly shipped to customers. So that was later in the process, where we won Toy of the Year, and then they will distributor, say, hey, I would like to work with you. And that process became really much easier for us to manage, because we don't have to do the physical moving.
Right.
So that's when we grow very, very fast. When we don't have to, we still have to touch the product, but when we directly ship out, then we can grow even faster.
Right, because if for those that don't know, again, the big cost of product development, especially when you are in the manufacturing stage, is touch points. Every single time a human has to touch something, it adds astronomical amounts of money. If it can all be done with machines, it's reasonably affordable. And when people have to touch it, that's profit margin flying out the window. And I look at the price of your product and I find it to be incredibly affordable. How did you work toward keeping that price point throughout the entire time without struggling to pay the bills? Or did you struggle to pay the bills for a while?
Um, I think we at the beginning of it, at the beginning of this design of this product,
Mm-hmm.
I designed to the point that is easy to manufacture, easy to assemble, and easy to pack. We didn't have like crazy big box, it's all quite compact. So a lot of this cost that would have been much higher, those are design. I have designed all that in. So I mean, thankfully, I had that in mind, right from the beginning. I didn't know that this product will become popular, that popular. Obviously, in the back of my mind, I always dream about this,
Oh, who
because you got to
doesn't?
dream. Yeah, you got to dream for it, right? So I was dreaming that, hey, when I came up with this design at night, am I the only one, this world, in this planet, that I see this for the first time? And then it's like, yeah, that's true. Come on, wake up. That's true. you know. So yeah, this dream is important. That keep things going.
Do you have a patent around Rainbow Loom, or is it something that you decided not to patent?
No, I did.
Okay.
I have over 20 patents that collectively, for Rainbow Loom and other looms that associate with rubber band making. You have to have that because when you create a market, there are people, there are companies that not so nice, and
It's
they
true.
want a piece of it. You know,
It's true.
so it's actually very difficult to defend that.
Yep.
But we at some point, I think we grew big enough that we can afford all this legal, legal defense, and we were able to. I think my attorney overall, they did a very very good job. I'm very happy with that.
Good. Uh, that is something that I think that every inventor fears is somebody is going to steal my idea. And at least here in the United States, if you do not protect your patent, it can be invalidated by the fact that you can't protect it. Did you ever have to go to court or send out letters to protect your intellectual property? That has that ever happened throughout this process?
Absolutely. We have one point over, I think, about 15 lawsuits
Mm-hmm.
going on at the
Wow.
same time. So each lawsuit will cost, I mean, it's very expensive. I remember that we were writing checks over $200,000 a month.
Woo!
Yeah. But you know what? At that point, we can afford to do it because
It's
our
true.
product was selling. So you want to do things that at the time you can afford to do. The best option for you. You don't want to throw the money out. Just before like for example, if you create a product, you want to secure your idea, but at that point, I bet nobody will copy you because a lot of this copycat, when they come in, it's when they see that you create a market, because they want to do the easy right.
Yep.
When they show that you put the effort in and create the market, that's when they come in. But before you create the market, they don't touch it. Nobody wants to touch it because there were too many ideas out there.
It is very, very true. We find that the copycat products come out when you create
The
your own
market.
specific market. And so I knew that you've defended your patent. I've heard you talk about the fact that you've had to defend your patent. And I think it's important for inventors to hear that, you have to be at a point where you can defend it. Like writing a $200,000 check to defend a patent was when you were making amazing money where you could write those checks, that was probably still quite painful because that's profit, that's food off the table, that's wages, that's all the things that allowed you and the people that worked with you to live flowing out the door because people wanted to copy you and steal from you, and
Right.
instead you had to defend it. Did you find that you didn't have to go to court very often, strongly worded letters worked, or did you have to go to court often?
No, yes, a strongly worded letter works. And even nowadays, you don't have to spend so much money to do it. There are much smarter way. A good attorney will give you, will point you to a better option on how to do things right. But we were at the point where we have to do it. We have to I have to file lawsuit. And I just want to say that it's the $200,000 is not all in US.
Right.
Our attorney in US is very good. They help us to save money, and in fact, we didn't lose any money doing that. And a lot of it went to Europe, Japan, and China, and so we have to defend our patent, copyright, trademarks in all over the world. So that's why it becomes so expensive here. But if you have to do it only US, it shouldn't be that expensive.
It's true, yeah. Spending $200,000 to defend a patent in the US is all but not common. Now, I am trying to get Josh Malone. You know Josh, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to get Josh on here to talk about his story defending his patent, which is 2 orders of magnitude more than 200,000. He spent almost $20 million defending that patent. That is hopefully a future episode coming up because, yours I want to talk about that success story. Josh's is going to be talking all about the fight and what it was like going up against the telebrands and some of the less than wonderful things they do in the industry.
Yeah. And some of the similar companies, they did the same thing. So unfortunately, that's how their business model. But taking advantage of inventors. But when Judge Malone won the lawsuit, announced it, I am so happy for him.
Yeah, I am too.
I'm so glad. Yeah, because I knew that he has a long fight.
It's like 5 years, right?
Yeah, he's pouring in money constantly, and I'm so glad. I'm like, wow, we got to celebrate,
I guess I should clarify for those that don't know who Josh Malone is. He invented Zuru bunches of balloons, the product that you put onto a water hose and it fills and ties 60 water balloons in 60 seconds. That's his claim to fame. But hopefully another talk for another day. What was it like winning Toy of the Year? That is literally very few people can say that they've made a product that won Toy of the freaking Year. Did you have to apply for it? Did somebody vote you in? How did that whole process work? And what did it feel like when that phone call or email came in?
Okay. I didn't know at all. So I think our customer submitted in for us. Learning Express, I think they submitted the nomination for our products, and it has nominated in 4 categories. Back then they had Toys of the Year. They have different categories, and then they have the overall Toy of the Year winners. So there were 3 categories that we participate in, and we won all 3 categories.
Amazing.
And we also won the overall Toy of the Year. So Rainbow Loom, I believe today is the only toy that had received 4 awards in the same year. So
wow.
Yeah. So the experience part of that is I didn't know that we will win. So Toy Association called me and asked that if I were to participate and go to Toy Fair, because back then we were still so busy.
Mm-hmm.
When they call, I remember that I was driving high-low, moving, moving your products, and I didn't plan to go, but I kind of get the hints a little bit. They told me that, no, no, no. The lady talked to me in the phone. She said that, no, no, you got to come. So I was like, I got to come. So I think it's something going on.
So yeah, somebody's trying to tell you something.
Yeah, so she said, you got to come. So at that, this is
Whoop.
sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. So this is back in 2014. And we were so busy, and I didn't have time to well, we didn't plan to go to Toy Fair because I thought that why Toy Fair, we were so busy now, we didn't have time to do,
Right.
even not enough time to do moving out boxes. So let's not go, let's do it. But I realized there's something going on, so we'll say that, you know what, let's go. So I brought 7 staff through there. Yeah. And we didn't have a booth. And this company, Duncan Yo-Yo, they were very kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, give a part of their booth to us to do the display. But the toy fair, after they announced it, our booth were like, there was constantly people, talking to us and, wanted to sell our product, especially those international distributor. Yeah. So it worked out great. Did I know that? I gave a little bit hints, but I didn't know that we were going to win 4 awards. They were, I think, maybe 12 or 16 awards, but we won 4 of them, which is like coming from nowhere. I wasn't in toy industry at all. So I didn't know about this, and I get to learn about Toy Award after we won the Toy Award.
Like, I didn't even know this existed, but thanks.
Yeah. So you know what? It's like you work hard, you keep climbing, and suddenly you were on top of the tallest mountain in the world. And then looking down, it's like, wait, where am I? Here, right here, and okay, let's go home. But after you return home, every now and then you look out the window, you see the peak, the top of the mountain again. You're like, how did I get there? And at some point you tell yourself that, you know what, I want to get back there again. That's what I'm at now. We want to get back. But if we were to do, we are actually doing now. We want to get back, expand it and build a legacy,
Right.
And if we were to get back out again, it won't be me alone. First time, I would say, yeah, a lot of it is me, but second time is everybody together in our team. Yeah.
That's what I tell people. I say that failure resides solely on my shoulders. Success is because of the team. It is because they and we are collectively doing a good job. If there's failure, it is because I have failed as the business owner to do something, and whether that is communication or whatever it might be. I believe that, you are only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And if you surround yourself with bad people, chances are you're not going to be a good person. So always try to surround yourself with really, really good people. The name Rainbow Loom, it's perfect, right? It accurately depicts what this does, what you can do with it, and
Yes.
where it comes from. But did you have other names, and how did you get
Absolutely.
to this? How did Rainbow
Absolutely.
Loom come up with that's the name?
Yeah. So it's like you go through a selection process.
Mm-hmm.
When you want to come up with a name, obviously you want to come up with a name that nobody has it before. Right. Otherwise, there will be a problem down the road.
Yep.
So we have to come up with a new name that represent the product, and it has to be fun. Uh, so it's actually very difficult to come up with something like that
Hmm.
to fit the bill, right?
It's true.
So the name we have is like something that rhyme, something sounds good, twisty band, uh, happy loomy, all that like different names, But then the name is actually came from my niece, my brother's daughter.
Yep.
She was 11-year-old back then, and I was talking to my brother. I was saying that, hey, what do you have any suggestion and all that? Then he turned to his daughter and say, what do you think for this? Because I did send a sample for her to use. She said, well, every kids like rainbow. How about we call rainbow? I'm like, rainbow? Wait a second. This is you can make bracelet with colorful rubber bands.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense. And then my brother said, well, you got to put a loom there so that it makes sense. This is a tool, to make bracelets. So what about rainbow loom? I'm like, boy, that's it. That's it. We've been talking about this for weeks, and that's it. Let me write it down, and and then I got to my attorney, and then, well, the attorney was my friend, so I just called him up. He didn't really matter about that, but he's very very nice
Yeah.
person, and then when I talked to him, he said, yeah, sure, you want to do it now? Do you want to wait anymore? I'm like, no, we have gone through too many names. This is it. We want it. Let's do it. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it come. Yeah, how it came from.
And that's amazing, right? A lot of businesses, inventions, ideas, people come up with names, and sometimes the names are great, sometimes the names suck. Having a name that's too long, too complicated, difficult to understand, it can kill a product, right? It's all about the branding. It's actually, we're looking at rebranding the podcast. The name is kind of odd, but 3D Musketeers as a company makes sense because we're in the 3D space. And it was my dad's idea. We were literally talking to him saying, Dad, what do you think we should name the company? He said, well, back then there were three of us. He said, I've always called you guys the Three Musketeers. So why don't you just call yourselves the 3D Musketeers? And we all just kind of looked at him and said, God, we hate it. It's amazing. It's perfect.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
because no one uses that. So
yeah.
it is
It make it
solely
unique.
ours.
Yeah. You make it unique.
Uniqueness is important. We're working on a product now. We're going to open source it because we're being in the 3D printing industry. Open source is very much a thing that happens. That, and I don't have the money for a patent or anything like that. So we're going to open source it or minimally keep it under trade secret. But the name of the product is making fun of the product. I can't
Mm-hmm.
share it yet because we're not done with it, but
Mm-hmm.
exactly the same of where I asked about it, someone came up with a name, I said, this is terrible, but it's literally the perfect name for the product, and when anyone figures out why it's called this, it clicks. What was like the name before Rainbow Loom? Like, what was the one that you thought this was going to be the name of my product before Rainbow Loom came along?
So the name that we call this product before Rainbow Loom was we call it as twist bands.
Okay.
Uh, twist with a Z at the end.
Okay.
So I remember watching Ellen DeGeneres show. She said, if you want to make anything cool, you just put a Z at the end of the word. So I'm like, okay, okay, yeah. But that name I found that well, twist band or twisty band. So basically, you kind of twist things together,
Mm-hmm.
So the bracelet looked like that. So I thought it's okay. That's good. The name that we're going to go with. But then I found that there is a company already used the name, but they have um, a band for type of band that used for tie hairs,
Right.
So before we changed the packaging, before we did, move the assembly from our home to China, and I talked to my attorney. I say, hey, we're going to do mass production. Do you think this mean okay to go forward? And then when he did the study about that, he said, well, uh, it's better that you change the name, because down the road, because this is a hairband is still elastic, so it can be a problem down the road. So I took his advice, and then went back to drawing board again, and then cross out names one by one. Yeah, so you got to do that. You got to make sure that it's okay going forward. You want something that people can remember. The name is quite catchy.
Rainbow Loom is
sounded,
quite catchy.
yeah, sounded fun. Sounded that people can understand what it is. So a lot of factors that come into place. So yeah, you got to just take time and then go through it.
It's true. It's absolutely true. See, you're dropping some mega knowledge right now for people. This is, and like I preach this all the time. So this is like all the validation. I'm like, all right, if you think I'm like when we're talking with inventors, they're like, you're wrong. This is the name. I'm like, but is it? Now I can say, why don't you listen to this podcast with this incredibly successful inventor who's literally agreeing with me?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things you got to do right.
Yeah.
Even the packaging is another part of the story too. How do you do your packaging? So
Packaging, quite frankly, is just as, if not more important than the freaking product itself. If people don't grab it off the store shelves, click add to cart, it doesn't matter how good your product is. If the packaging sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
As much as I'm an iPhone or an iPhone hater, I use Android. I'm an Android fanboy. iPhone and Apple have some of the best damn packaging. Everything is perfect. It, all that beautiful like vacuum style fitting with the soft touch paper. It's beautiful. But they're also selling a $1,500 to $2,000 phone, $1,500 to $2,000 phone, so they can afford it. When you're looking at making a product that is mass marketable, something that is affordable, what did you go through to land on your packaging? Because your packaging is quite simple, but boy, does it really add to the product itself. How did you get there?
Obviously, it didn't come all from me. It's a group effort. What we did, it's not a secret, so I can talk. So what we did is we would go out to, let's say, stores, to look at other similar products. Then it could be not similar product, it could be similar products, and see how people did it. So there are things that we keep in mind. There's we call 3-second rule. So once you look at the packaging for 3 seconds, you got to get the idea what it is. So the 3-second rule has to apply. And there are things that important, which is who do you sell your product to? Like our products is selling to kids,
Right.
So you have to make it that get this kid excited about, right? And then they can get it right away, and they get excited about. So it depends. If you make product for, let's say, older generation, then the packaging, the color has to gravitate towards that demographic. So ours is different. Ours is tweens, like 7-year-old to maybe 14-year-old kids. So the packaging, you have to pack in quite a bit of stuff in there,
right?
And then make it not busy. Not that too busy for them to look at. They can tell what it is. You will have top level information. You have secondary information, and then you have some of the detail, a little bit more detailed information or disclaimer down there. So these are the things that you have to get in and then start changing the outline, emphasize or reduce the tone, make the color certain way that they all flow right.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff in there that you have to do it right. Like the packaging in the back here.
Yep.
We have a new product called Rainbow Loom with the Loomy Pals Mega Combo.
Mm-hmm.
So we make it such that that it has tons of information here. If you look at it, it has tons of information,
Yep.
but we make it fun. The colors, the top level information, Rainbow Loom, Mega Combo with Loomy Pals charms, so it's easy to understand, and then you can see the charms over here, and then you see the loom, that this is a kit that make bracelets.
Right.
And then we kind of sneak peek in here where it shows the rubber bands. So it has a lot of rubber bands in there, which is shown in the back. So you want to make it's like 3-second rule. You see it, you get the idea what it is. It's fun. The color combination make it easy to look at. It's not too difficult to look at. Obviously this is kid product, but when you talk about adult product, or you talk about, older people, or talk about who is going to buy, you want to ask yourself, who will buy? Some of the kid product, parents buy for them. So you want to make the packaging that parent can understand,
Yep.
So things so those are the important things that sometimes I think people forgot about it. They just get, my brand has to be largest there, and then when they look at the packaging, you don't know what it is. What are you trying to do? So that could be a problem. Yeah.
This is so true, right? At the end of the day, if your logo is the biggest thing on the package, you've probably done something wrong. Right? Your product needs to be front and center. The branding at the end of the day, while important, is a minor part of the product. Right? The reason you want Rainbow Loom on there is so that they know that it is your high quality with the metal hooks,
Absolutely.
the proper injection molded stuff, and none of the fake knockoffs. But ultimately, you want to show, when it's on store shelves, again, bright, flashy colors for the kids, something that they're going to grab quickly, and something that their parents and grandparents can get because they can visually see what they're looking for. Right? Anyone that had, especially younger kids, where they ask for something, and because they're not good at articulating, and the product itself has bad marketing, they don't end up getting it. And it's like this, oh, this is what I wanted. Oh, but it's actually a knockoff. Yeah, there are things to think about.
Right.
That packaging is so important. When it's on that store shelf, your eyes, like you said, 3-second rule. Within 3 seconds, I got to know what the heck I'm looking at.
Right.
You've talked about the fear of failure, right? We talked about this a little bit earlier. How did you overcome it and stay persistent? I know, obviously, good sales help, but in the beginning, man, the fear of failure had to have been pretty high. What kept you moving along to get through this and carry on to success?
Yeah. You know what? The part is I realized that the failure in the early days is a bigger hump. And then as we still have failure, we still make mistake, we are human, right? So as we make mistake, it become less of a bump now than before. Before, it seems like it's a showstopper.
Right.
We won't be able to do it anymore, But challenges is change over time. And I think important thing is you're going to make mistake anyway, because if you don't, you're doing something wrong. You have to make because something wrong means you don't realize that you made mistake, So you have to be vigilant all the time. Have to keep it, learn from your mistake. It can be anything, because when you start your own business, anything goes wrong, it's your fault.
It's true.
It's your fault, because nobody will come and rescue you, right?
No,
You have to
no,
rescue yourself. Yeah. So So I think like I said before about time will make you feel the sad part of it go away, and then I think very important is think of it as a game. I kept going back to this, but if you don't think like that, you don't bring out the positive energy, you always feel bad about it, then you won't be able to go forward. You have to think about this is a game and my staff will learn with me. I remember that we make a mistake by uh, overcommit to customer that we can ship products to them, but in fact we couldn't, and end up that we have to air freight in. Um, we have to air freight in uh, $250,000 worth of shipping costs.
Wow.
It was Walmart that ordered the products, but the project worth a lot more than that. So it's a very expensive lesson, but we learned from it. We got to talk to the factory before we commit to customer that we can ship on that date. So we learn from it, right? So look at it as a positive way, and then and I think if there's a mistake, don't treat it as personal level, but learn as a group. So so it makes it like the people that work together with us, he didn't involve with this at all, but he learned from the mistake that we make. So talk about it, be transparent. It's okay. It's okay to make mistake, but we have to be transparent. We have to be honest. We have to learn from it. And then we have to make it fun again. The sad we can put behind. But we need to remember, learn from it and then move forward and work strong as a team.
I could not agree more, right? And if you are doing things solo, find a team. I'm sure there are people out there that would be happy to talk with you. Go find other communities of inventors where you guys can help bring each other up, because remember, a rising tide rises all ships. Everybody will come up together as long as everybody is committed to the same damn thing, which is ultimately happiness in life, financial success, of course. Now being 2022, you've got a 3D printer sitting next to you. Had you had this technology way back when you invented Rainbow Loom, do you think it would look different?
Honestly, no. I think it will come to the same conclusion.
I love it.
Because I went through a circle. I went through changes after changes. And then I find that, what? I still come back to the same point. So I was telling myself, this is it. I have gone through the cycle where I change the shape of the pin, the top of the pin.
Yep.
And then I make it so that it's easy to slip in your rubber bands. And then, you know what? What if kids that put it on the floor and parents come back and step on it? It won't be a pretty picture, right? So it has to be safe, So
yep.
I changed it and I decided, you know what? This is, I came back to the same point, like, that's it. I'm done. Yeah. That's the point that I decided that no more is, no need to do anymore. This is it. Yeah.
Do you think that having the 3D printer would have sped up this process back then?
I think it makes things much quicker. I may come to this point sooner, and there may be other areas that I could refine it a little bit better than what I had before. So yeah, absolutely. I think 3D printer, this technology is awesome. Use it.
Or hire people that know how to use it for you. I have to like
utilize that. Yeah, it's not that expensive to do it
No.
nowadays than the day before. I remember that the first 3D printer I bought was a Stratasys, those stereolithographic, is that what you
Yep.
call it?
SLA, the
Yeah.
resin printers.
SLA, yeah, the resin printer with two-part component, one
Wow.
support, one. I spent $50,000.
Yep. That sounds about right.
Yeah, so yeah, but obviously, printers technology has improved so much more now. You can get something that you get a pretty good result now, right? So yeah, I went through many printers, but not as many as you, obviously.
We
But
have a lot. People think that we get rid of printers all the time. I haven't gotten rid of a printer in like 3 years now. We are going to be getting rid of some for the new Prusa XL because I got to make room. But
oh wow,
have you
I
seen
like
them?
that. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I heard about that, but it's been my bucket list.
They're not out yet. They're in pre-order still. The Mac Daddy, the big one, all the options and bells and whistles, is going to be around $3,500 to $4,000, with a 360 millimeter cubed build volume. So good build space. 5 individual tool heads that all auto calibrate. It's going to be able to detect jams. It's going to be able to perfect first layers every time. Choon, this is like
I know,
democratization of 3D printing
I
at its
know, and
finest.
it has this individual compartmentalized heater bed.
Yes.
So you won't have the problem with, some area get too cold.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I was like, oh man,
Did
I
you put a
need that.
pre-order in?
Uh, you know what? I probably should do it after this show.
we it was $200. I said, "You know what? I don't have the cash for it right now. This is something I'm working toward, right?" And
Right.
being a content creator, we got to have one here. It'll be great for content. It's going to be great for business. Soluble support. Again, we can finally do it again. And
Wow.
on a reliable machine. Um, so with the machine being there, with having the Mark 3S from Prusa, are you working on anything new that you can talk about, or is this just for
Yeah,
just to mess around
yeah.
with ideas?
Yeah, I constantly, do things. I don't stop. I mean, business. We have great people to work on the business, and I'm involved in most of the time. But at home, I like cooking. I'm frustrated with my door knife, and I decided that I come up with a knife sharpener that is practical, because a lot of the sharpeners out there, the high-end sharpener, it takes so much space and it needs a calibration when you take it out.
They're also
You know,
like
they take,
$1,000.
yeah, or more. I mean, or more, or several $100. So I actually come up with something that costs ballpark of 150, depending on how complicated,
Right.
and then the step down version would be less than $100. You still can use your traditional whetstone, different sizes. It will work with it. What it does is it hold the knife angle constant, so you sharpen it very effectively. And it also comes with the polishing the plate
Yeah.
that you can use assisting abrasive paper. That if you go through the sharpening process, your knife can get to the point that it gets so sharp that it can wither hair. You can slice hair. So I'm like, wow. And the exciting part is you can store the whole thing into your kitchen drawer. So it's
You
very
have my
practical.
attention.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about it. I think it's very practical. I've been using it, because of COVID, the shutdown.
Yep.
I cook from home every day, and I'm a home cook now.
Yep.
my knife, I keep adding collection to my knife. I have over 20 knives now, and they all work with my machine, my tool. So it is coming up this year. So I'm excited.
Okay, so I'm gonna put you on the spot. Can we get a knife brand recommendation from you for someone who's looking to get a good kitchen knife?
Oh yeah,
What are you
yeah, that's right.
recommending?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a guided angle guided sharpener tool for whetstone.
Okay.
So you can use your, Japanese whetstone, all different sizes. You work with that.
And what is a good knife that you recommend for the kitchen? Since you have been cooking, you've got a lot of knives. What is the
Yeah,
knife that
yeah,
you recommend?
yeah. I would recommend. Well, I think the important things about knife is the type of steel.
Yes.
You want the steel to be at certain hardness. So I would recommend the Swiss made or the German type of knife where they have, those are stainless steel knife, certain level of hardness. So you keep the knife quite sharp and
Right.
easy to sharpen. But if you want to get into more of the sharper knife, then I would recommend the Japanese knife. So like they call chef knife, they call gyuto,
Mm-hmm.
santoku, and they have all kind of different ones for different purposes. Yeah, but I own many knives now. I find that yeah, so I'm become a collector,
I
and
love it.
I sharpen knife every week.
And that's the way to do it, right? People will
Yeah,
buy cheap knives and not ever sharpen them. And there's nothing more frustrating than cooking with a dull knife. It is so bad. So please keep us all updated when we can buy that product in
absolutely,
stores, because
absolutely,
that's pretty amazing. And 3D printing is powering the development of this, correct?
absolutely,
Are
absolutely.
are you doing the design work yourself, or do you have an engineer now that's doing the work?
The engineer is uh, you're looking at now. No, I do not. I this is become my passion.
Mm-hmm.
Designing is my passion. The part is I find myself working all the time. you
Yeah,
know,
I feel that.
yeah, yeah, you know that. So I was like constantly refining the product, making it better and in every aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, right from the usability to the way you handle it, to the way it looks, to the manufacturability, and all that. Yeah. So you have to make a perfect these. I to me is like I have to make it perfect. Yeah, that's it. Otherwise, I won't stop.
Well, and that's incredibly valuable. And how long have you been on? I'm trying to ask questions without forcing you to like reveal things about the product, but
No problem.
how long have you been working on the development of this?
So I started in the by the late 2020,
Okay.
the 20, towards the end of the well, I started that, yeah,
Okay.
late 20, and it's been
A little over a
over
year.
a year,
Yeah.
over a year and a half, yeah.
How many prototypes have you gone through?
This round, wow, I just stopped a month ago,
Hmm.
so I have prototype almost every day.
Wow,
So
that's awesome.
hundreds of prototypes.
Hey, see, it is common that we run into inventors that say, "I want one prototype, then I want to go to production," and I laugh at them. I to the point where I've just stopped. Like, I used to have a filter where I wouldn't laugh at people for saying dumb things like that. Now I just laugh at them because they truly don't understand what it takes. I think 100 prototypes is scratching the surface for something where you are pushing perfection. How many prototypes do you think you went through on Rainbow Loom before it was ready for prime time?
I would have, yeah, it would be easily over 200. But I have major, so there are major changes and small changes,
Right.
So the major changes, they were 28, I think I remember right, it's 28 iterations. But under major changes, there are sub changes
Yes.
because you can have, okay, I'm going to get it now, make it certain shape, and then you're going to make it in the way that is taller, shorter, smaller, wider, this and that, So there are many sub changes. So yeah, if you end up is a lot, is over, yeah, it's in the hundreds.
I love that. I love that. And your daughters, Teresa and Michelle, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
See, that's one of our staff who does the writing for these questions was a reporter, so she went digging. She found their names. What are they up to these days?
Okay. So Teresa is the older one,
Mm-hmm.
and she is a nurse slash. Well, she's still going to school for her graduate study.
Okay.
So she's working as a nurse. Started last year. During there was a time that she started without the vaccine being announced yet. So
Mm-hmm.
we were so heavy-hearted at that time, but I'm glad that things turned out okay. So Michelle is still studying. She's doing her computer science.
Nice.
So I'm pretty proud of her because she willing to take on the challenge.
Wow. So a nurse and a computer scientist. Man, you've got to be a proud dad right now. Not only did they help it kind of come up with this idea of Rainbow Loom, but they've also gone on to eh, go go toward really good careers, both of which have crazy high demand right now. How does that how do you feel? How do you feel of it, this chapter, now that they're getting to be self-sufficient?
Obviously I'm very proud of them. I was trying to steer them towards product development, maybe business, and somehow come and help our business go on. But obviously that didn't work, and but I'm happy that they have their own thought, they have their own dream on doing stuff, so I'm proud of them. I think it's great.
I love it. So a lot of people that have seen the photo of you, and it's the photo that we used in the thumbnail. It's you with the rubber band jacket, which is still awesome. I absolutely love it. I have a couple of questions. One, how heavy is it?
Wow, it's heavy.
Yeah, it looked heavy.
Yeah, it's it's about three of the laptop weight. I would say 25 pounds.
It's got some,
Uh,
it's got some
yeah,
gravity
yeah.
to
So
it.
it has got, if I remember right, it's got over 120,000 pieces of rubber bands. So that was sent in by kids around the country, sent to Jimmy Kimmel when he announced the challenge for kids to send bracelet to him. When he saw Rainbow Loom everywhere, around him with his niece and nephew were making it. So he was like, hey, what about let's talk about this. So he ended up so many bracelets that sent to him, and his staff stitched them together and turned into a suit. And then I think Kramer is that his assistant also have an underwear made of rubber bands,
Oh gosh.
which is kind of cool. He was talking about it. He went to Ellen DeGeneres show, which is I think the same day earlier, and then they were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And during the show, he was wearing all the show, and it was so he ended up have the suit auctioning out for to benefit kids with cancer, and we saw it and we end up that, you know what, we got to get that.
You gotta win it. Yeah. And
Yeah, we got to win it. So we got it. Finally, we got it, and we still have it. It has a lot of miles that we took it to trade show. We took it to the, you know, to the store featured in the toy stores.
yep.
That several products I was there too. It's been 10 years since we started Rainbow Loom. And I was thinking that it would be really cool that, you know, to get back to Jimmy Kimmel show and then have him to wear it and you know, and talk about that again. And maybe we can, you know, we can start the same donation activity again. So who knows, right? So it's 10 years, so it's cool.
True. I love that about you, Choon. You are always looking at not only how you can grow a business, but how can you benefit the most amount of people around you constantly. You are all about looking toward that social proof and that doing good for your fellow human. I absolutely love that. Thank you for that kind of effort. There are a lot of inventors that are all about me, 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 me. And you are all about everybody. And I love that about you.
Yeah, I think you need to have a, you know, how do I say it? You know, treat people kindly. You know, the kindness there. Because we all, you know, rely on each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got to respect each other, treat people equally. You know, those are important. Our products is I would like to use our product to deliver those kind of messages. So we are still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
But we will be doing, you know, spreading kindness through our products in the very short coming days. Yeah, we are working on it.
I love that, man. That's awesome. Seriously.
Thank you.
I'm glad that while you have grown, right? You know, Rainbow Loom has been a worldwide success. You are still grounded in not just being an inventor, a product developer, you're a family man, you're cooking your own meals, you're picking up a new hobby. This is what the dream is all about. To me, that it's like the dream is to be able to kind of do whatever you want but still be able to give back and help out those who are starting, right?
Yeah.
Fundraising, charity events, like you said with the jacket. Do you have advice for anyone that is looking to start this product development stage for inventing? What kind of advice could you give for that?
I yeah, I think you got to have, you know, trust in yourself and be realistic, because you can get, you know, blinded by your optimistic, you know, and may not be able to see the real picture, the whole picture. But sometimes you got to always, you know, be creative and then be positive about it. But at the same time, you know, well, sometimes you take a break and then step back a little bit and look at, you know, look at the reality part of it. You know, who's going to buy this? You know, will you sell this? How are you going to approach it? You know, plan out the thing, the process, and don't rush yourself because nobody will have this. Nobody think about this yet. There's none in this world. You know, don't rush. Take your time. Don't overextend it because I've seen that people trying to be, you know, get it out there and be successful really quickly and make a tons of money, and then sometimes they get it too fast, and the product is not ready yet, or they end up have to, you know, sell the product away and break into pieces, and then to some point that they don't even have enough ownership of it, lost interest. So that can be a problem too.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that. Take your time, think about it, get your game plan ready, and don't overextend it. Always do it with what you can afford, and make it fun. Make it fun with, if you want to partner with anybody, partner with somebody that, you have synergy,
Yep.
with, and somebody who has different skill set that can help you on the marketing side, on the sales side, or on the critique of their product, be positive about it. Obviously you need to click with the person you work with.
It's true. Yeah, you have to like the people you work with.
Yeah, so I'm glad that my wife is the person that I can work with, and build the company together. And so as a family, that's really cool. I'm very fortunate about that on that. Um, and the time that when you start selling product and start very successful, um, and I guess there are things that you want to do. Go ahead and do that. If you want to buy certain things for your wife, or do something for yourself, do it. But don't overextend it. And then come back to where you are before, and then on the path and keep going.
Yep.
Still keep going. At some point, you understand that money is good. It's a convenience, give you convenience. You don't have to stress over many things, but it does not do everything for you. For example, health, happiness, right? Sometimes you can be quite alone.
Yep.
So remain grounded, remain be kind to people that in a way that give you happiness, right? So ultimately, you can solve one part of the problem, which is the money part, but then the other part, you don't want it to go away. You
Right.
want it to be same or better, right? So that's the part, yeah. And then, yeah, just keep continue, I think. Just keep continue. And some point I want to say is that the success later on is, I mean, when you can make more money, continue to make more money, and at some point it doesn't change your lifestyle anymore because
Right.
you keep the same, but the money is part of the reward. You
It
can
is.
see that as the reward of what you do, but be kind to people. I want to say, be kind to people, treat people right, and things will go even better, right? So that's the advice I would say.
I love it. And I am working toward, financial stability, financial success, and hell, just having a year where we're profitable would be great about this point. But anyone that has been through the product development cycle knows what it's like to trudge through the mud. And, while we like to talk about the challenges, I think it's important for us to also, reward the successes and show off what can be possible. And Choon, I think there's very few people out there who are a better example of what hard work, dedication, and continuing to try and try and try looks like, other than you. I mean,
Thank you.
you fully embody, to me, what most people think of as the American dream, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so glad how things turn out. I'm so glad that I live in this country and call it as home
Yeah.
now. And there are so much that I can do here in the United States. I'm so glad. Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you. I mean, this has been eye opening for me, and I hope eye opening for quite a lot of people as well. I have one final question.
Sure.
It is the fun one. This is the fun question. You are an expert on this. What do you believe defines being a cool dad?
Okay. Well, yeah, you know what, this question got me so.
Look, man, you were literally the coolest dad for so long, right? You invented the product that your
Yeah,
girls eventually turned into a massive business, and every one of their friends likely had one, knew of it. Like, how, what defines being a cool dad to you?
Um, well, thank you for giving me the confidence. I didn't think that I'm cool that, but I always try to, because they never told me that I'm cool. Um, but I think a cool dad is being nonstop and keep trying to be, nice and cool to them, and you don't stop, So I think that's the that 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 define the cool dad.
I asked my dad the same question, right? We had my dad on as a guest for Father's Day, and I'm hoping I can convince my mom to come on the podcast for Mother's Day. Um, and we asked him the same question. He said, "You just do what you do, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, it is what it is. I still think I'm cool." That was his response, and he's not an inventor. He's a college
Yeah,
administrator. Um,
yeah.
but I'll say there are so many people that basically call him dad because of the way that he treats everyone. And I feel like this is similar to you, where you kind of became the dad for a lot of people. You seem so caring, and you did not have to come on and talk to our audience, and you took a fair amount of time out of your day, and I want to thank you
No, I think
for
it's cool. Yeah,
that.
thank you. I think it's cool. Uh, I, I mean, I'm always, wear the hat of being a learner.
Hmm.
As a, even to my daughters as a dad, and I do see that they grow up, and then things are changing over time and keep changing, and
Right.
then you want to, adapt to that, and you know, and treat them differently over time, or in front of their friends, and you don't say certain things. And even that, I still make mistake here and there, but just being open, being nice to them, so that will, I guess, they will define cool. Yeah. But thanks for giving such a credit to me.
No, you embody it, seriously. If I had like a stamp, I could put it on the screen, stamp for cool dad. I absolutely would. Not only did you were always trying to connect with your daughters, and you saw what they love to do, the engineer and you took over, and you created a product that you made it just for them. And then all of a sudden it turned into a worldwide sensation and has been incredibly successful. That is one of the best success stories there ever could be, right? I
Thanks for
love it.
saying that.
I love
Yeah.
it, man. Is there any final words you want to give before we wrap this up?
Um, I mean, if anyone like to, friend me on LinkedIn, I'm welcome to, and if you want to talk to me, just shoot me an email. Um, so I'm here. Yeah,
It's true. Literally, I think we met through Tampa Bay Inventors Council, right? When you came and talked to Tampa Bay Inventors Council,
yeah,
and we connected because we both love 3D printers. We both have Prusas, and we've talked a little bit, but it was completely out of the blue that I asked, "Do you want to come on and talk to our audience?" And you're like, "Yeah, let's do it." Um,
yeah.
and I'm glad. I want to really talk to more inventors just like you. Josh is on that list, but I feel like we had to start with you, because I remember your talk at the Tampa Bay Inventors Council. I remember how it made me feel, right? If people are listening to this and you're not coming out feeling better about the struggles you're going through, about the trouble that you're dealing with because you're not alone in this fight, well, then you're probably not an inventor or a maker or anything like that, because everybody struggles with this in life. And Choon, you have dropped some just amazing advice and knowledge here. Thank you so much for your time. Seriously. Guys, I
Thank you.
I will edit the description to put Choon's LinkedIn profile down below so you guys can get it. Um, And yeah, he's a great guy. Seriously, he just spent an hour and a half talking with everyone. So, yeah, that's all I got. Choon, anything else?
Uh, only the only last thing I want to say is be kind to people. Yeah, thank you.
This fits well. This is just like this is this is the outro we always use. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones, and as always, keep making awesome.
And subscribe to this podcast.
Hey, I try not to put the call to actions in here, but thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Oh, these hands, yeah. Thank
Take
you.
care, everybody.
All right.